Donald Trump is facing yet another indictment. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video. And today, it is time that we talk about the scam that is happening in the state of Georgia. That is right. Trump is facing his fourth indictment in, 5 months? That's right. This is his fourth indictment in the last 5 months. And let me be 100% clear before we even start. I am not a legal expert. I'm not somebody that knows every single law in the book. With that being said, I can still do research. And I can think critically for myself. And I can also look at what legal experts are saying. And also, if this was Biden that was going through the same stuff, I would be calling it out. Because I don't like Biden. And sure, I do support Trump. But guess what? If the Democrats in Georgia get their way, or the DA in particular, this would criminalize the election contest process. That's essentially what would happen. I mean, this is beyond third world stuff. And how can you say this is democratic in the middle of an election? Like, if this was such a serious case, why didn't they bring this up a year ago? They waited till the last second, right before the primary was really going to kick in, to begin the indictment show. They had all this time. And it was such a big rush that they waited until right before the first debate. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $1 a month, you can join Real American. This is the best way to support the daily content that we all know and love. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. Alright, now before we even start, were there some false statements pushed by Team Trump at the end of the day? Okay, sure, I'll give you that. Some of the stuff they said turned out to be false. With that being said, right, just think about this for 5 seconds. How long do they get to get an election worth of information? It takes years to do a full analysis of an election. They have a couple weeks at best to do the same thing. Some of us do in years. So some of the information, it could originally be seen as true, but after an audit or a recount, it could be proven false. But that's not illegal. That just, hey, they believe that something was off with the election, and they looked into it, something was false. And just like Robert Barnes on Twitter said, right here, the Georgia indictment is the most insane yet, by the looniest prosecutor yet. Claims tweets are conspiracies. Legal advice is a crime. Constitutional law is a criminal act, and demanding officials to do their job is criminal solicitation. It is an embarrassment to the state of Georgia. That is right. He isn't kidding. You look at the first count they're going after Trump for. Look at what they're trying to claim he did. Let's find the first tweet. I'm not kidding you. They used 13 tweets of Trump to tie this as one big conspiracy. I mean, look at what they're claiming here. These are the overt acts they try to use for the racketeering charge. I mean, the first one. On or about the fourth day of November 2020, Donald J. Trump made a nationally televised speech falsely declaring victory in the 2020 election. Approximately 4 days earlier, on or about October 31st, Donald John Trump discussed a draft speech with an unindicted co-conspirator, Individual 1, whose identity is known to the grand jury, that falsely declared victory and falsely claimed voter fraud. The speech was an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. That's right. They're using a draft speech from 4 days before the speech was even given, or 5 days. And it was according to a he said, she said situation. That's their first overt act. Okay, they're saying that the election was, they prepared for a situation where they believe there's something wrong with the election. That's the First Amendment. I mean, okay, was he wrong? I don't know. I have my opinions on it, but it's like, what? Remember Clinton? She didn't concede till the day after. And then really, you look into it, she claimed Russia did you know what with the election. So the first thing, this racketeering charge, their entire basis of it is he prepared the speech beforehand. He tweeted stuff on Twitter, mean tweets and all this other garbage. But that's not all. There are other counts related to, in my opinion, the most important part. It's related to the state legislature. Guys, if you can read this entire case, it comes down, when you really think about it, to the state legislature. That's right. This has been a thing that many people have been debating for decades. It didn't just start 5 minutes ago. This started years ago. And what this is about is related to, do the state legislators have the power to appoint electors? Remember, this was a huge thing in 2020. And I can pull up 4 or 5 articles from CNN, Reuters, etc. that show, or they even say, there's a possibility the state legislators could theoretically send a second slate of electors. That's right. They are going after Trump and his people for merely saying the state legislators have the power to appoint a separate slate of electors. I kid you not. That's what they're going after his people for. I mean, you could say what you want. This has been a debate for far before Trump and far after Trump. Well, maybe the recent Supreme Court case with Harper may have killed it, but guys, the entire idea is, in the Constitution, people interpret it as the state legislators could theoretically appoint a separate slate of electors. All right? And you know what? Hold on. Let me bring something up. So this was from Reuters, and I just mentioned this, how this was a month before the election, mind you. This wasn't like 20 years ago. Look at this. Where is it? It is theoretically possible for the governor and legislator, each representing a different political party, to submit 2 different election results, leading to so-called dueling slates of electors. That's right. They were saying this way before Trump, before the election happened. Guys, this is just constitutional law. There was a dispute about, do the electors, could they be chosen by the state legislature? Some precedent says yeah, some precedent says no. They're trying to criminalize just basic constitutional law. If you have one disagreement, oh, that's illegal. You're trying to violate their oath of office. For what? Trying to say, we believe that there should be a dueling slate of electors because there is evidence to put this election in doubt. And for those that say, well, those electors should be thrown in jail, I present you the case that Democrats, they've been ignoring for 50 years. They're trying to pretend this never happened. The 1960 presidential election in Hawaii. Yeah, Hawaii may have set the precedent for, arguably, the thing that could have happened in 2020. So if you don't know what happened, Nixon originally had the victory. Originally, he did win the state of Hawaii. He was up by, I believe, 100-some votes. Yep, right here. He had a 141 vote victory on November 28th. It was the acting governor who certified this result. He certified the result after 2 audits of the tabulation sheets by his office, and may have had no option other than to certify, as he lacked authority to inspect or retabulate, the actual ballots cast. Litigation was still ongoing on December 13th, the safe harbor deadline for certification under the Electoral Count Act, as only the Republican slate had so far been certified by the state's governor. Its votes would be the only ones eligible for safe harbor status. Republicans argue that the litigation should end, since even if the recount should result in a Kennedy victory, under the rules of the Electoral Count Act, Congress was required to presume the Republican electors were the validly appointed electors for Hawaii. But guess what happened? This is where the Democrats suddenly go quiet. They say, well, that's it. That's the end of the story. The Democrats had their own separate slate. You heard that right. The same day, the Democrats had an unofficial slate that wasn't certified by anyone. And what happened? And I kid you not, after a few weeks of audits and recounts, they found Kennedy won. So the Democrat slate then at the last second got certified by the governor. Doesn't that sound very familiar with what Trump was trying to do? Doesn't it just sound very similar? They make a big deal about the safe harbor deadline, but this happened 2 days before the congressional joint session. I mean, yeah, theoretically it wasn't the exact same situation, but there's precedent. There is something to say, hey, the state legislator or something, theoretically, there could be a possibility where there's 2 slate of electors. And guess what? This was on the same day the Georgia indictment is saying they illegally falsified information. The same safe harbor deadline as it was in 1960. The Democrats did the same thing. They had a separate slate, not certified by anyone. At the last second, was certified by the governor of the state. They didn't falsify information. They just believed we were the rightful electors. That's what happened in 2020. So the entire case at that point is just already very unstable. When you look at history, you realize this happened in 1960 and nobody got in legal trouble. They just realized, oh, there was in fact a dispute and both slate of electors were sent. And now Nixon, he just let the Democrats win because he already lost the election. But that's my point. There's precedent to be said, hey, this what they're charging Trump for the fake elector scheme, which is a big part of the Georgia case, it falls apart. And not only that, you also have the alleged, hey, Trump tried to make Raffensperger change the election results. This is arguably the biggest factor, and I even think that the state legislator stuff alone kind of kills this case, but they also try to claim that Trump, he was trying to force the state Secretary of State to change the election. Which, I don't know about that. Because Jonathan Turley, who, not necessarily a pro-Trump guy, he is a liberal, he is somebody, however, that is a legal scholar. Well, thus far, the focus has been on the controversial call that Trump had with Georgia officials, a call widely cited as indisputable evidence of an effort at voting for you-know-what. Yet the call was similar to a settlement discussion, as state officials and the Trump team hashed out their differences in a Trump demand for a statewide recount. Trump had lost the state by less than 12,000 votes. That might be what he meant when he stated, "I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have because we won the state." While others have portrayed the statement as a call for fabricating the votes, it seems more likely that Trump was swatting back claims that there was no value to a statewide recount by pointing out that he wouldn't have to find statistically high number of votes that changed the outcome of the election. It is telling that many politicians and pundits refuse to even acknowledge the obvious alternate meaning. So it's like, look, should Trump have said something better? Yeah. But here's the thing, though. The phone call that's famous now, or infamous, I even made a parody video of it. Here's the thing, though. Do you really think Trump was saying, "Raffensperger, find me 12,000 votes"? Like, make up votes? No, because at the time, there were disputes about, apparently, there were some military ballots that may have not been counted. That was a big thing. And those ballots were overwhelmingly for Trump. And not only that, there were rumors that, hey, there was something wrong with the recount. Just when you start looking at it, you realize, no, he wasn't actually calling for Raffensperger to fabricate votes. He was just saying, I just need 12,000 votes that are illegal from Biden or that you just missed in the count. Again, I'm not defending Trump for he should have said a better statement than that. But it's like, do you really think he was telling Raffensperger, "Oh, I need you to make 12,000 votes"? Yeah, he did say, "I need you to find 12,000 votes," but so what? He could be saying, "I just need 12,000 illegal votes, be thrown out, and I'm the president," or at least I won the state of Georgia. That's the problem with this case. It's talking a lot about, well, that's what he actually meant, and this isn't protected under the First Amendment, and this is, not a valid election contest. It opens a Pandora's box where it's like, should he have said something better? Yeah, but is it illegal? All the legal cases against Trump should fail under the principle that a president cannot be held liable in any way for an action he took while in office unless he is first convicted of an impeachment. That's right. There is a legal argument to be said when Trump was in office, especially for stuff like this. They can't charge him. They just can't. It has to go through Congress. It has to be through conviction of an impeachment. Now, do I believe that 100%? That's a bit disputed, I would say. But it's like there is many arguments to be made that, hey, this Georgia case, you just look at history. You just look at basic common sense and you realize this is stretching it. And even then, it's a bad precedent. It says, hey, if you challenge an election, you could get thrown in jail. That's my most concerned part about this entire situation. The fact is, they're criminalizing the election contest. That isn't good. That makes people think, what are they hiding then? And hopefully that they get us thrown out for mistrial because of the documents leaking beforehand, and I guess the grand jury names got leaked. I don't know everything. But hopefully this gets thrown out, because this is supposed to be one of their bigger cases. And most of it, it's getting backed by, oh, you followed the wrong constitutional law, you need to be thrown in jail, or, oh, you made a wrong statement, that's against the law. It's like, no, First Amendment still exists, even though they're trying to take it away. Most of this falls under the First Amendment. Trump wasn't trying to, fabricate votes at the 11th hour. That's baloney. He believed there was a procedure, or at least some kind of constitutional pathway to being the next president. And that was through the state legislature, that was through audits, all of it. It didn't work because, well, it just didn't work. But it's like, we can't criminalize that. It just opens the Pandora's box in a very negative fashion. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Thank you so much for watching. Godspeed to all of you.